welcome to Farouk Academy. So in today's lesson, guys, I'm gonna show you how we can add some cool notifications just like this too into our Cafegram app. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna show you how to add this one, and then when you will slide to the left, you will have this nice pop-up, okay, with some cool options, actions at the bottom. Okay, so let's get started and see how we can make the notifications happen in our app. Okay, guys, let me show you another thing. Do you remember in our previous at the beginning lesson we added some cafes for our Cafegram app? So what I have done is that I have take all of them, okay, and I put them manually into the simulator. Okay, so right now I have all my images in my photos folder. Okay, so you can do that for this for today's lesson. Okay, guys, and last thing about this series, it's the last episode of the Cafegram app series, so don't be sad, but I think it's a good idea to move on with some new stuff with other apps. Okay, so today's lesson is the last lesson concerning the Cafegram app series. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, first of all, you have to know that the user notifications framework is a brand new framework introduced in iOS 10 for managing and scheduling notifications. To implement user-facing notification, the very first thing to do is import the framework in our code so that we can access the APIs bundled in the framework. Okay, so later we will implement user notifications in both app-delegate.swift and cafe-table-view-controller.swift. Okay, so first of all, insert the following line of code in both files. So here, for instance, cafe-table-view-controller, you're going to write import user notifications. Okay, then you do the same thing in the app delegate file. Okay, import user notifications. Okay, regardless of the type of notifications, you have to ask for the user authorization and permission before you can send notifications to the user device. Okay, in code we usually implement the authorization request in the app-delegate.swift file. Insert the following code snippet in the did finish launching with option method, which is here. Okay, yes, and for instance you can write here user notifications permission. Okay, like this, and then you write this code un notifications center, okay, dot current dot request authorization. Okay, here you are going to create an array with 3 elements. The first one is alert, okay, then sound, and finally badge. Okay, like this. Okay, here you press enter. Okay, and then you write granted and error. Okay, these are 2 parameters that we are going to use in here. Okay, so if granted, okay, then print user notifications are allowed. Okay, like this. Otherwise, else print user notifications are not allowed. Okay, like this. Cool. It's very simple to prompt users and authorization request. As you can see from the code above, we call request authorization on the UN user notification center, okay, object associated with the application, and we request the ability to display alerts, play sounds, and update the app's badge. Okay, now run the project to test it out. When the app is launched, you should see the authorization request. Once you accept it, the app is allowed to send notifications to the device. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is to delete the previous version of our app simply by pressing on the app like this. Okay, then you can delete it. Okay, press OK, and now we can run our simulator. Okay, and see if it works. Okay, so as you can see, we have an alert that asks the user if he allows us or not to display some notifications. So we are going to click on allow. Okay, here you can skip, and maybe for our tutorial convenience, we are going to add a cafe. Okay, like this. Now we have an item, so it's a good thing. And now the CafeGram app is ready to send notifications to the users. So now the CafeGram app is ready to send notifications to the users. Okay, the content of a user notification is represented by UN mutable notification content. To create the content, we instantiate an UN mutable notification content object and set its properties to the appropriate data. Okay, so scheduling the notification is as simple as creating the UN notification request object with your preferred trigger and then adding the request to UN user notification center. Okay, so note that you should have some ideas about how to create and schedule the notifications. Let's implement the cafe recommendation notification. Open cafe table view controller.swift and insert the following method. Okay, so maybe at the bottom of the class here you can write mark notifications like this, and here func for function. Okay, prepare notification. Okay, then make sure the cafe array is not empty, obviously. So if cafe dot count is inferior or equal to 0, then return, simply return. Okay, then otherwise pick a cafe randomly. Okay, like this. So let random num is equal to int. Okay, open parentheses, then arc for random. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay, then uint 32. Okay, open parentheses. You just write cafe dot count like this. Okay, and normally it should work. Then you can write let suggested cafe is equal to cafes. Okay, with random num. Okay, then we create the user notification. Okay, here you write let content is equal to UN mutable notification content. Okay, like this. Then content dot title is equal to cafe recommendation recommendation, okay, then content.subtitle is equal to try a new cafe today, okay, and then in the body you can write I recommend you to check out suggested cafe.name, okay. The cafe is one of my favorite, for instance, okay, favorites, okay, like this. It's located at suggested cafe dot location, okay. Would you like to give it a try? Okay, cool. And then you can also, if you want to play a sound when the notification is triggered, you can also set the sound property of the content, okay guys. So here content.sound, UN notification sound dot default, okay, like this. For Swift for users, it's the same phrase but with parentheses, okay. And then we're going to create the trigger. Let trigger is equal to u when time interval notification trigger, okay. This one we can put 10 seconds for instance and repeats false, okay. Let request is equal to UN notification request, okay. This one you can write cafegram dot cafe suggestion, okay. Here the content is content and trigger is trigger, okay, cool. And finally we schedule the notification, okay. So UN user notification, oh sorry, notification center, this one, dot current dot add, okay, request, and here you can write nil, okay, cool. So to better manage the code, we create the prepare notification method for handling user notifications. We have gone through most of the code before, but the first line of code is new to you, this one. Here we want to randomly pick a cafe from the favorites and recommend it to the user. This line of code is used to generate a random number. Say you have 10 cafes in the favorites. The function will generate a number between 0 and 9. With the random number, we can choose a suggested cafe from the array and create the notification content, okay? One thing you have to take note is that we now set the time interval to 10 seconds. This is for demo purpose and ease of testing. In reality, this is too short. You may want to trigger the notification after, for instance, 24 hours, okay, of use, or even longer, okay. Now that the prepare notification method is ready, you can call it in the viewDidLoad method. insert this line of code before the end of the method. So where is view did load? Okay, perhaps we can write here notifications prepare notification. Okay, cool. Let's run the project and have a quick test. The notification won't be presented in app, therefore once you launch your app, make sure you go back to home screen or lock screen. Wait for 10 seconds and you should see the notification. And if you test the app using the iPhone simulator, press Command Shift H or the home button to switch to the home screen. Okay, sorry, I have to close all of that. And press Command L to lock. Okay, here as you can see we have our notification. Okay, so if the notification appears on the lock screen, okay, you can slide the notification to the left to return to the Cafegram app, and when the device is unlocked, the notification rolls down from the top as a banner. Okay, so here you can either delete it, okay, or you can display it. So right now I'm displaying it. Okay, and then I think yes, if you click on the notification you go back to the application. Okay, so we've talked about notifications with rich content from the beginning of this lesson. So far, like here, so far the notification we have created is in plain text. How can we bundle the image of the suggested restaurant, of the suggested cafe in the notification? It's as simple as setting the attachment property of the UN multiple notification content object. Okay, so let's first check out the code for creating attachment. You can insert the following in the prepare notification method before the instantiation of the trigger. Okay, so here let temp dir URL, okay, is equal to URL file URL with path, okay, and is directory. So here ns temporary directory, and here true. Okay, then let temp file URL is equal to temp dir URL dot appending path component. Okay, and here suggested cafe dot jpeg. Okay, then if let image is equal to UI image, okay, suggested cafe dot image, okay, as data. So if you're not forgetful, probably remember that the image property of cafe mo is of type data, as you can see here. Okay, image binary data. Okay guys, so we have to use the data parameter. Okay, and then if it's good, then you can try image dot jpeg data 1.0, okay, like this, right, yes, 1.0. Okay, right to this one. And actually every time you have throws you have to use tries. Okay guys, so here you write temp file. So if let cafe image is equal to try UN notification attachment, okay, this one, then you can write cafe image here, temp file URL again, and here nil. Okay, and finally you can write content dot attachments is equal to an array with cafe image like this. Okay, so the iOS SDK provides a built-in function called JPEG data to convert image data into a JPEG image file. Okay, what's going on in the code above is we first find the temporary directory, okay, for saving the image, and then the ns temporary directory function returns us the directory for temporary files. Okay, here you can also write for Swift for users, it's UI image JPEG presentation like this. Okay, 1.0 right like this. Okay, the JPEG data function takes in an UI image object. So we first create a UI image, okay, object, and then pass it to the function for writing the image data to a JPEG file. Okay, with the image file created in the temporary directory, we can create the UN notification attachment object and assign it to the attachments property of the notification. It's time to test the app again. Run the project to open the app in the simulator. Remember to go back to home screen and wait for the notification to appear. Okay. This time you should see a small thumbnail in the notification. Hey, as you can see here, we have our attachment. Okay guys, and if you sweep it down, normally you should have a large version of the image. It's not working for me, but I think if I press display it works. Okay, cool. So now users have only one way to interact with the notification tab to launch the app. This is the default action if we don't provide any custom implementation. Okay, so with the user notifications framework, we can implement custom actions for notifications from the Cafegram app. When a notification appears on screen, it provides two options for users to choose: reserve a table or later. Okay, to implement custom actions, we need to create a UN notification action object and associate it with a notification category. The action object has a unique identifier and a title, which appears on the action button. Optionally, we can specify how the action should be performed. By default, action will be a background action, which means it dismisses the notification and performs our custom task in background. Okay, so right now we are going to implement the custom actions for user notifications. Insert the following code snippet to the prepared notification method before the trigger variable. Okay, so here we can write user notifications, custom actions. Okay, so, and then we have to write let category identifier is equal to cafegram dot cafe action. Okay, cafe action. Then let make reservation action, which is equal to UN notification action. Okay, with this one, so that the identifier will be cafegram dot make reservation. Okay, then reserve a table. Okay, and here it's an array foreground. Okay, like this. Then let cancel action, which is also equal to a UN notification action object. Okay, this one, cafegram dot cancel. Okay, the title will be later, and here the option is an empty array. Then we create a category. Let category is equal to this one. Okay, so here you can write category identifier. Here it's an array, okay, with our actions, so you can write make reservation action and cancel action. Okay, here it's an empty array, and here also an empty array. Okay, and finally UN user notification center dot current dot set notification categories, which is here an array with category. Okay, like this. And then you can write content dot category identifier is equal to category identifier. Okay, cool. So the code above is exactly the same as what we have just discussed. It's time to run the app to try out the notification actions. When the notification banner appears, swipe it to the left and then press display, and you should see the custom actions just implemented. Okay, so here, okay, cool. And here, if I press display, you can see our actions at the bottom of the notification. Cool. So if we tap the reserve a table button, it brings up the Cafegram app. However, it won't call the cafe for you. As explained in the earlier section, the action object has an option that indicates how the action should be performed. Okay, for the later button, we didn't provide any additional options, so it defaults to dismiss the notification. For the reserve a table button, we set the option to foreground. That will bring the app to foreground. Okay, so how can we handle the action when the app returns to foreground? The UN user notification center delegate protocol is in the user notifications framework is designed for this purpose. The protocol defines a method for responding to the actionable notifications. So to handle the action and execute custom code, we need to implement this protocol in a delegate object and assign it to the notification center object. When the app is returned to foreground, the method will be called accordingly. Okay, we will implement this protocol in app delegate.swift, but before we do that, you probably have another question in mind. We are going to make a call to the suggested cafe. How can we pass the cafe's phone number from cafe table view controller to app delegate? The notification content has a property named user info for us to store custom information in the form of a dictionary. So put the line of code below in the prepare notification method right below content.sound. Okay, so here content.sound, you can write content.userinfo is equal to an array, so phone and here suggested cafe phone, like this. Cool. With the phone number associated with the notification, we now implement the UN user notification center delegate protocol. Okay, again we will create an extension for app delegate to adopt the protocol. Okay, so at the end of app delegate.swift, insert the following code snippet to create the extension. So write extension app delegate UN user notification center delegate. Okay, then open the curly bracket and write user notification center. Okay, and it's this one, I think. Yes, yes, it's this one. And here you can write if response, which is this parameter. Okay, dot action, no, sorry, dot action identifier is equal to cafegram dot make reservation, then print make reservation in the console. Okay, sorry, it should be here. Okay, okay, and then if let phone is equal to response dot notification dot request dot content dot user info, like this, then let tell URL is equal to tell phone, like this. Okay, if let URL is equal to URL string, this one. Okay, tell URL, then if UI application dot shared dot can open URL. Okay, then print in the console calling tell URL, like this. Okay, finally UI application dot shared dot open URL, this one, and you write URL. Okay, and here don't forget to write completion handler. Okay, so when an action of a notification is selected by a user, the user notification center, okay, did receive method. This one is called. So we provide our own implementation for making a call to the suggested cafe. As we only need to handle the reserve a table action, we first verify the identifier of the action, then we retrieve the phone number of the cafe from the user info property of the notification content. So in iOS, you can launch some of the system apps using an appropriate URL. In this case, we want to open the phone app to call up the number. You can use the tell scheme here, okay, to initiate a call. Okay, so in the code above, we construct the tell URL and then call the open method of UI application to launch the phone app. At the end of the method, it's required to call completion handler block to let the system know that you are done processing the notification. Okay. The last thing we have to do is set the delegate of the notification center in the did finish launching with options method. Okay, so here you can write maybe just there notifications, okay, like this, un notification center notification no un user notification center, sorry, current dot delegate is equal to self, like this. That's it. Run the project and deploy the app on a real device for testing. Okay, you have to use a real device because we can't make a call using the simulator. If you select the reserve a table button, the app will launch the CafeGram app and switch over to the phone app to make the call. Okay, if you link your iPhone with your iMac or MacBook, you can see it here normally appears. Okay, let me show you here. Okay guys, but as I'm not gonna show you on my real device because I don't have another camera to film it. Thank you. See you on the next lesson. Bye bye.